Guys, look at this rock. See my bike there at the bottom? Put that there just for scale. Look how big this is. This is huge. Goes all the way over there, all the way across, and at the end, there's a cave. You guys know how I love caves. But guys, in this piece, we're going to talk about the 144 cubit square whatever. I'm not certain, guys, if this is the wall or if it's like one stone like this here, what we're looking at, okay? I'm not certain exactly what it is, guys, because as we analyze the wall and we look at it in relationship to the city, it appears to be a small wall. When we look at the wall in relationship to the gemstones and the gates, it appears on the outside of the wall. I'm not certain what it is, so I'm going to present both. But this rock I thought was amazing, and I wanted to include it in this piece because that may be what we're talking about here, is something that's actually just one square stone in the wall, okay? And, you know, that's why I wanted to show you this here. Now let me show you the cave over here. All right, and here's our cave. So guys, what we're doing in this piece is, again, we're still measuring. And in measuring, guys, we want to go over again this this work I did in the last piece. And I apologize if I did a poor job in explaining that very well. And I want to do this again, and I want to chart it out. It's very challenging sometimes to provide all this, you know, information on the whiteboard on one page. And so I think what happened there is it might have been a little confusing for some of you guys. And guys, the fact of the matter is this: maybe only one or two of you actually understand what it is I'm saying, and actually use it. But I'm giving you tools, okay? And most of you just don't care. Just like when you go to a store and you look at tools, if you don't need the tool for what it is you're doing, you know, you're just not that interested in it. So I understand that this work, in this particular part, in this piece, you know, you may not be interested in. That's okay, okay? Just as long as there's, you know, a couple people that get it. But basically what it is we're doing, guys, there's sometimes in Scripture where it says things like 1,260 days, okay? There's sometimes where you interpret that as literal days, 1,260 days, A, B. What I'm getting at is now we know that sometimes those are prophetic days. And prophetic days are 360 days in a year. And what we need is we need a way to recalibrate those, okay? So these two things we're going over is a way of recalibrating the Scripture so as to see when is it exactly this certain number of days between A and B, and when is it actually a fixed period of time. So what the King's timeline is, guys, it's a fixed period of time. There's nothing else in between. This is it. It goes from, you know, it goes direct order. It goes by years, and there's no year in between. It goes. It just runs, just like, you know, God's other patterns. You know, Shemitah, Jubilee, all those things. It just keeps going. Okay? Days of the week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you know, and it keeps going. So, so we're going to go, I charted this out a little better so as to try to make it more clear. And that's what we're going to go over, guys, in this piece. But you know how I love caves. I often wonder sometime if, you know, this might be where I end up some days. And I really like this place, guys. I'm at a place called Mount Grace, and there's a hill called Leland Hill, and there's a road called Leland Hill Road. So in this place, I found this cave, and I really like it here. I love to do videos with these because I almost wonder if I'll be like the men of the Bible where, you know, I'm living out of a cave. But guys, let's. I'm going to grab the camera, and we're going to take it over and look at this piece I have. And I'll make this available to you as well, okay? All right, guys, here's our handout again. Now, this is a new one I drew up so as to go through the information in chronological order. Now, again, guys, I'm not certain exactly what we're dealing with here, but what we've drawn for you is what I'm calling the 44 cubit square wall. Now, basically, the wall of New Jerusalem may be thickness of 144 cubits and a wall on the outside of the city. But you'll see when we draw a 144 cubit perfect square, which we have here, there's some incredible things that happen. So just like we saw that big stone, I don't know if it's just one stone or if this is literally the wall. I can view it in a couple ways. When I go to do the gates, I'm going to present more of it on the wall on the outside, all right? But what we have here is this is the 144 cubit wall. Now this is the Holy of Holies. This is drawn to scale so that you know the difference between the two, okay? Now to recap, what we have here is this equation. We have 24 times 12 is 288 divided by 2 is 144 cubits. We get that by the 12 apostles judging the bride, right? Then we have the 10 virgins times 5 that are wise is 50 divided by 2 is not 2 inches, it's 25. I don't think I have a pen in the woods, but I had some white out there. I must have put the wrong number, but that's 25 inches, okay? And we can get that here. Okay, so we have 244 cubits times 25 inches, okay? Now, guys, what we're doing is we're observing the fact that this wall has some interesting anomalies to it, okay? Some of which relate to time. Okay, so you can see as we multiply to 144 times 25, we have a wall that's 3,600 inches. Okay, so one wall is 3,600 inches. Now, we're relating this 3,600, guys, to prophetic days of 360 days, okay? We'll get to that later. But that's one wall, so if we multiply that by 4, we get 14,400 inches, okay? Now, when you go to measure something that many inches, you would convert it to feet, and there are 12 inches in a foot, so we take 3,600 that's in the wall, and we divide that by 12, and now each wall is 300 feet, okay? So, just like we have here, one wall is 300 feet, and we divide, and then that's one wall, so we multiply that by 4, and we get 1,200, okay? Then also, we know that there are gates at each wall. So there's 3 gates at each wall. So we get each wall has, that's where we divide out this 100 here, okay? Now then what we do is we take the 300 that's in each wall, okay, which we got here. We have 300 feet in a wall, and then we go to convert those feet into meters. Now one wall is 91 meters, okay? So one wall now is 91 meters. So now it's turning into time, okay? So now that wall, 91, is a season. Spring, summer, winter, fall, winter, right? And then when we take the 1,200 of the full diameter of all 4 walls, we divide that, or we convert that into meters, and we get 365 meters. And that is the whole diameter of this square, 104 cubit square wall, is a solar year. Now, someone asked before, well, there are 91 times 4 is 364. So why is there an extra day? Well, there's an extra day because there are centimeters when you do this conversion. And there's enough centimeters that accrue to give it another meter. So instead of that being 364, it's 365. But we consider that a solar year. So now what's the mystery is we've gone to measure something in inches and feet, but we convert it into meters, and it appears to be giving us time. And this is remarkable. So now when we take the gates, and there's 100 feet per gate, and we convert the gates to meters, what we're doing, guys, is we're drawing the Enoch calendar. Each month in a season has 30 days in the first month, 30 days in the second month, 31 days in the third month. So this would be a pattern of spring, summer, fall, winter, okay? And then thus 91. So this is just remarkable. Whatever this is, I'm not certain what it is, guys. Is this the wall? Maybe it is. Is this just one gemstone or foundation stone? Maybe it is. But there's something here that, again, is remarkable. So that caused me to dig a little deeper. So all this information I'm giving you right here is on this 44 cubit square wall. Now, what we did is we then tried to look at the Holy of Holies. So remember, this diameter is the diameter of the 144 cubit square wall, right? But this is the diameter of the Holy of Holies. You can see it's much smaller, all right? But when we go to do this, we have 20 cubits, okay? So to whereas here we had 144 cubits, here we have 20 cubits, okay? Now our number of inches in a cubit is, again, 25 inches, giving us a total of 500 inches per wall, okay? Now, when we go to convert the inches to feet, this is what happens. You have 500 inches divided by 12 is 41.66 feet, okay? Now, this had me wondering, why is it 41.66, okay? We could see clearly that over here, this was measuring time. It's a 365-day time. It's a calendar. It's a schedule. But 41.66 does not equate to time well. However, 42, the number 42 does, okay? So what's going on? Well, when we look at it, we consider that 41.66 feet relates to 360 days, okay? And then what we must do is these are prophetic days. So sometimes there are prophetic days that require additional solar days, okay? Sometimes those are literal days. It's both, guys. So any of you looking to interpret Scripture, this is the tool you need to determine, okay, is this something that's a literal 1,260 days, or is this 1,274 because you need to add the additional days? And that's what we're doing here. We're adjusting. So you take 360 days, divided 364 is 1.01. And again, what we're doing is we have a figure adjusted to 364. Again, this is 91 times 4. And again, we're using 364, guys, because it's just more accurate in doing these calculations than the 365 day, all right? So when we do that, again, we're still trying to come up with, it's like, okay, we had 500 inches, and those are only 41.66 feet, so it's short. There's a time where it's 360 days, but there's another time where it's 364. Okay, so now we're having to adjust because we're short. And what we do is we multiply 500 inches by 1.01, and it's 505 inches, okay? Now we take 505 inches, we divide that by 12, we have 42 feet per wall. Now what's happening is these 42 feet per wall are months, okay? All right, so now we have months here going on, guys. We have months. Now, if we take the 42 feet and we convert that to meters, we have 12 meters per wall. Okay, so let's look at it. So what we have is we have 42 feet per wall. So this we have right here is 42 feet. Each wall is 42 feet. And then when we convert those 42 feet, we have 12 meters per wall. Now, what we're doing with the 12, guys, is before we were counting days, now we're counting months, because these meters are telling us about the months of a year. That's what these 12 are. So we take the 12 months of a year, and we divide that by 42 feet, or months in a wall, and we get 3.5 years, okay? So now, this is the whole point of this whole exercise, is this. Each wall is, you can see here, 3.5 years. 3.5 years, 3.5 years, 3.5 years. Guys, 3.5 years times 4 is 14 years. This is the king's timeline. I know you don't understand what I'm saying when I'm talking about the king's timeline, but let me explain it to you one more time. The king's timeline starts when the king sits. Then he reigns 3.5 years. We get this in Esther chapter 1, okay? Then what happens is Vashti refuses the king's command, and we go into the seals, okay? The seals, the first 5 seals last 2.5 years, okay? But the 6th seal lasts another year, giving us a total of 3.5 years. So the seals do, in fact, last 3.5 years. Then what you have after that is the trumpets. The trumpets last 3.5 years. After that, you have the bowls. The bowls last 3.5 years. So there's no break in this pattern. There's no year in between. There's nothing else that says, oh, you know, let's skip it. No, this all happens in sequential order. And what I'm telling you is this already happened. The king sat. Okay? And now what's going to happen is everything else is going to happen in sequential order. So this completely confirms, the Holy of Holies completely confirms this king's timeline I've been giving you guys. Okay? It completely confirms it. It's the exact same thing. And that timeline is a period of 14 years. 7 of those years are the Great Tribulation. The Great Tribulation is the time of the trumpets and the time of the bowls. Okay? So, there we have it. This 144 cubit square wall, converted to meters, is a solar year. Each wall is a season of 91 days, just like your Enoch calendar. That's why I'm harping on this calendar. When we go to analyze the Holy of Holies, we must adjust for the fact that these are prophetic days, and prophetic days are 360 days, okay? So again, guys, this tool I'm giving to you, some of you can use when you're going to read Scripture. For example, the Scripture talks about 42 months, okay? Well, what is that? When you go to convert those months to days, is that 1,260 days? Or does it need to be adjusted to 364? Okay? And is it one of these? Is it the 42 months? Is it talking about something that's fixed in a fixed location? It doesn't change. It doesn't adjust. These are exact periods, intervals of time. Okay, so many of those are here. Other of those are require interpretation because they go from point A to B somewhere else. Okay, that's why this tool is so important. Any of you that does Bible prophecy and you try to determine what is a time, times and a half, 42 months, 1,260 days, 3.5 years, all these things require interpretation. What is it we're looking at? Guys, what is it we're looking at? Well, the Holy of Holies is telling you that there are fixed 3.5 year periods, and there are 4 of them. And those 4 directly relate to the king sitting, the seals, the trumpets, and the bowls. Okay? Hope you guys get it. This is part 2 in this because I probably didn't do a good job of mapping this all out in sequential order like we're doing here. Okay, I'll try and scan this, make this available to you guys. I'm just doing everything I can to make this clear, okay? All right, God bless you.